Hi, I'm Tom Wassermann. I'm an Israeli triathlete. We're here in Brooklyn for the Gaza 5K. I'm raising solidarity of the victims of war. And I'm also here as a Zionist to have some positive conversations and see what else we can agree upon.
Can someone be a proud Israeli or a strong Zionist and not see the conflict as a zero-sum game? Can someone be a Palestinian or want a better future for this population without using that suffering to fuel a physical and ideological war against Israel? The reality is that there is no other option but to create a better future together, because neither population will just disappear. When it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, there is always a greater context that must be understood, and deep emotions that run through those affected from it on all sides. Regardless of the context or narrative one is associated to, innocent lives are affected on both sides, and the only way to break out of this one versus the other paradigm is for the populations on both sides to start seeing and valuing the humanity of the other. The status quo must be challenged, but it could only be challenged if the majority take back control from those on top who use human suffering as political ammunition to either profit or maintain control over populations. Let us stop focusing on the leaderships or the failed policies and actions that such leaderships take. Why don't we actually break down what we need, what we want, who we are, and what kind of future we must build to gift our children the best lives in this land? Our goal on this day was to prove that Israelis and Zionists could show solidarity with innocent children from Gaza suffering from the conflict, having nothing to do with political positions and without using this opportunity to point fingers or wage blame. Change can only begin when we can see each other's humanity, especially past the names and the symbols that we carry. Our hope was to show the Palestinian side that Israelis and Zionists are not some abstract political creatures that should be demonized on the basis of their identity, but in actuality are real humans who also have genuine grievances and who at the end of the day want better lives for all. If this is the basis for both peoples, then why is it so hard to see the other as a fellow human being instead of the eternal antagonist to each other's story?
Turn it on. Why is it on?
It's on because we're here to have conversations, to see each other as human beings.
I understand your point. He's trying to make a point that we shouldn't get triggered by each other's flag.
You're brothers, you're cousins. Like, we want to have a dialogue.
We are cousins.
The same way you want to have a dialogue.
Absolutely.
Like, if he's truly here in support of us, that's good. But he also has to recognize, like, our right to exist, like the Palestinians.
Absolutely.
Your family roots, are they from Georgia?
Israel.
There's no Israel. Israel was created in 1948.
So the 5K is...
Yo, are you retarded?
You wanna... Can you let me speak?
You know what Zionism is? You know what Zionism is?
There are clearly certain terms that polarize our peoples, and too many perceive these terms differently than what they actually mean. So let's clear some basic ones now. Judaism is not a religion that crossed over borders and nations, but the portable suitcase of a native people's identity, where Jews are the physical, cultural, and historical descendants of a civilization called Judea. Zionism is the right for those native descendants, the Jewish people, to self-determine on their ancestral land, which represents the most successful indigenous liberation movement that has ever existed. Zionism in practice is the same that it is in theory, where the Jews revived Judea and restored their civilization. The displacements and deaths that have happened on both sides over the past 100 years are not a consequence of Zionism, but a consequence of an ethnic conflict that was created to pull our peoples apart and lead us down a dark path that now seems we are in too deep to escape. Palestinian identity exists. Regardless as to the origins of the name Palestine, Palestinians are human beings, and they are real. It is also a fact that they are truly suffering from the status quo, and it is a fact that Israel today has more power to create change. The suffering of both sides should be blamed on this ethnic conflict and never used to destroy the identity and humanity of the other's population.
Clearly not welcome here, so get the fuck out before you get fucked up.
So don't talk to me.
So get the fuck
So
out
don't
before
talk
you
to
get
me.
fucked up. I'll break the camera. If I go to jail, I'll break the camera.
All right, don't break the camera. That's not a good idea.
Do you mind?
Hands off. Hands off. Hands off.
Break it right now. Stop. Dude, you're making us look like
Stop it.
You ran your race. Can you leave now? This is our space.
Honestly.
We want to enjoy.
Hey, whoa.
Over there. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Hey,
Out of here.
stop touching me. Stop touching me.
Hey. Sorry.
So unfortunately, we had to leave the 5K early before the award ceremony. It was good after I finished. I had some very productive conversations with people from all sides and all backgrounds. Learned from new perspectives, but unfortunately we were being threatened. People were being violent. People were throwing punches. People were pushing us.
We expected tensions. We expected emotions running high. And we know that there are violent and bad individuals on all sides of every conflict. But there should be no excuse in condemning such actions, no matter who does them. A few individuals do not represent the majority, but if the majority cannot condemn those individuals, then are they really against it? If they are, then they must take action. This goes for both sides.
There are people who, unfortunately, they can't really some people just can't control their. I don't fully, entirely, like, I don't blame them. Like, I get it. Things are just so heated back there, and it's always like, quote unquote, Israel, like stirring the pot, you know.
The youth are beginning to stand up and say, no more. No more will we see our fellow humans as inhuman. No more will we use our past's pain to inflict pain on both of our futures. No more will we just stand facing our backs when all along we needed to just face each other and look into the other's eye and say, we accept you.
There are people within both of our communities who would not approve of us speaking to one another, you know, and then when that goes out...
And that's a problem,
We need to solve the injustices that both experience, and we need to fulfill the aspirations that both need. The only way we do that is together. It takes two to challenge the status quo. Let's not wait another generation. Our time is now.
Shalom everyone, my name is Rudy Rochman and I'm a Jewish and Israel rights activist. My work focuses on empowering the next generation of Jews and allies to be ideologically strong in order for us to write the next chapter of history. If you like my work and appreciate what I do, you can support us on patreon.com and link will be below.
What do you think? Thank you. What's your name?
Do you mind taking picture? This is בסדר, you know, like נכון. נעים מאוד, and thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming and talking to me.
Of course.
The goal is to get past that, but it's hard.
Congratulations on coming out here and supporting.
Thank you.
It takes a lot of courage. I know things aren't perfect right now.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, I hope you hope for his peace.
What's your name?
Manzoor.
Tom, nice to meet you. Have any questions?
I just want to make sure you're on the right side, brother. That's all I'm saying.
It's just humanity. It doesn't matter what side you're on.
Every single person who gave me a leg up in my life was a Jew. A friend, a mentor, an employer, a teacher, a professor of mine. Those are the Jews that I know. The loving, nurturing, mentoring Jews. Those are the brothers.
They exist everywhere.
Not everywhere.
No?
There's a gap somewhere.
So it's not about not all of everyone in Israel is bad, and not everyone in Gaza or West Bank are bad. It's just supporting this is about humanity. It's just supporting people who are victims of war, no matter what side they're on.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I appreciate the support. Thank you.